Have you ever used a product and just thought, wow, this was made for me? Or, on the flip side, have you ever gotten so frustrated with an app that you wanted to just, I don't know, throw your phone into a lake? Well, that feeling, both the good and the bad, that's the power of user experience, or UX design. And today, we're going to pull back the curtain on how this simple idea shapes pretty much everything you use. All right, so to really get our heads around what UX design is all about, we're going to start with something super common, something you've definitely experienced, and something that can be, well, really frustrating. Of course you have, right? We all have. It's that split second of awkwardness where you feel kind of silly. Get this, in the design world, these are so famous they actually have a name, Norman doors. They're named after the guy who first pointed them out, Don Norman. And they are the perfect classic example of a design that just failed its user. So, when you boil it all down, user experience is about that feeling. It's how you, the person using the thing, feel about the whole interaction. The main job of a UX designer is to make sure that feeling is less like that frustrating Norman door and more like something that's just easy and maybe even a little bit delightful. Now, you might think this is a pretty new idea. And yeah, the actual term user experience was only coined back in the 90s by Don Norman himself. But the principle behind it, it's ancient. I mean, think about feng shui. The whole idea is to arrange a room to improve the flow and make people feel happier. It's literally the same concept, designing with human feelings in mind. So what's the secret sauce for a good user experience? Well, it really comes down to 4 big questions. First, is it usable? Like, can you figure it out without a manual? Is it equitable? Meaning, does it work for all kinds of people with different abilities and backgrounds? Is it enjoyable? Does using it make you feel good? And maybe most importantly, is it actually useful? Does it solve a problem you actually have? And for a perfect example of this, look no further than the ketchup bottle. Remember the old glass ones? You'd smack the bottom over and over, nothing, and then bam, a giant ketchup puddle all over your food. So frustrating. The new squeezable upside-down bottle, it's a work of art in UX design. It puts you in total control and just solves the problem. Simple but brilliant. And this brings us to what is maybe the single most important idea in all of UX. The user is the hero of the story. It's all about shifting your perspective. Stop thinking about some generic customer and start thinking about a real person with real goals and real struggles. And this is a huge shift in thinking, right? We're moving away from these abstract ideas about markets and demographics, and we're zooming in on the actual needs of a human being. So to make this really hit home, let's create a character. Let's meet our hero for this story, Amal. He's an athlete, and he's at the center of our design challenge. Now, every hero has an obstacle, a dragon to slay. And for Amal, his dragons are what we call pain points. He wants to get into these really popular workout classes, but they fill up like that. The gym's sign-up app is slow, it's confusing, and you can just imagine him getting more and more annoyed. He feels like he's being blocked from his own goals. That feeling, that's the problem we need to solve. And to make sure we stay focused on that problem, designers use this awesome little tool called a user story. It's a super simple formula that keeps the spotlight exactly where it belongs, on our hero and what he needs to accomplish. So here's Amal's user story. See how it's not about what buttons to add or what the text should be? It's a clear, simple statement from his point of view. For any designer, this right here becomes your mission. This is the North Star for the entire project. Okay, so if Amal is our hero on a quest, then a UX designer is kind of like the wise mentor, the guide who helps him succeed. And that mentor's most critical superpower, the one that makes everything else work, is empathy. And it's so important we get this right. Empathy is not the same as sympathy. Sympathy is when you feel sorry for someone, kind of looking at their problem from the outside. Empathy is about truly trying to understand and even share what they're feeling. It's not about looking down on their problem, it's about trying to see the world from right inside their head. So, to build that real empathy, designers try to dig into 4 different levels of a user's experience. What are they actually saying out loud? What are they really thinking on the inside? What actions are they taking? And how does that whole combination make them feel? And a great way to capture all of this is with an empathy map. So for Amal, he might say, ugh, I wish this app was faster. But what he's thinking is, this is so annoying, I can't believe this. What he does is he keeps refreshing the page over and over again.
And the result is that he feels frustrated and anxious. Suddenly, his problem isn't abstract anymore, it's real. You can feel it.
All right, so once we've really connected with our user, once we truly get their problem, now we get to the really fun part, coming up with a bunch of ideas to solve it. In the design world, this creative free-for-all is called ideation. Ideation is basically brainstorming with the rules turned off. The whole philosophy here is quantity over quality. Seriously, at this stage, there are no bad ideas. The only goal is to get as many different thoughts down on paper as possible, because you never know when a totally wild idea might spark a truly brilliant one. And one of my favorite ways to just force that creativity out is this super high-energy exercise called Crazy Eights. It's specifically designed to make you think fast and get past all your first, most obvious ideas. And the setup is as simple as it gets. You just grab a piece of paper, fold it into 8 little boxes, get a pen ready, and set a timer. That's it. The challenge is to quickly sketch 8 completely different ideas to solve your user's problem. In just 8 minutes. Yeah, that's one idea every 60 seconds. And that pressure is the whole point. It doesn't give your brain time to say, oh, that's a dumb idea. It just forces you to keep moving, to push past your internal critic and dig for those really interesting, unexpected solutions. So we've gone through all this effort, right? We've built empathy, we've defined the problem, we've sketched out crazy ideas, but why? Why does any of this actually matter in the real world? Well, because it flat out works. This isn't just about making things pretty or easy to use for the sake of it. A huge study by McKinsey back in 2018 found that companies that truly invest in good design just do better financially. Period. We're talking about a real, measurable business advantage. At the end of the day, it's just this really simple, really powerful loop. When you create something that people genuinely like, something that solves a problem for them in a way that feels good, they use it more, and they tell their friends about it. A happy user leads directly to a healthy business. It really is the ultimate win-win situation. So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Now that you know the difference between a Norman door and a great ketchup bottle, start looking around. What's one thing you use every single day that just makes you a little bit crazy? What could be designed better? Because I guarantee, once you start seeing the world through this UX lens, you'll see opportunities for better design absolutely everywhere.